closer, breathe in the light. Morning hum in the garden high. Every wing has a story to tell. Every root knows how to heal. We listen, we learn, we gather and grow. Where the bees and the wild things know.
Hello, bee enthusiasts. Welcome to the Attic Bee Podcast. I'm your host, Jody Schramm. Now that we're in the middle of spring, with leaves more fully unfurling each day, I'm revisiting the idea of forest bathing, because this is such a magical time of year to give it a try. So we'll start with the question. When was the last time you went outside just for the sake of being outside? Not to exercise or accomplish a chore, but just to soak in the beauty of what's around you. Without headphones or distractions or a checklist, just being present. That's the space we're stepping into today. Forest bathing exists at the intersection of research and lived experience. The research, what we know from science about how nature affects our bodies and minds, and the lived experience, what I've seen over and over again guiding people through nature therapy walks. Because the truth is, we don't really need to choose between science and feeling. And we really don't have to overthink this process. If you've heard the term forest bathing before, you might picture hiking or something maybe a little mystical or out of reach. But Shinrin-yoku, as it's called in Japan, is actually very simple. It's the practice of intentionally slowing down and engaging your senses in a natural environment. And it's the slowing down part that I think a lot of people struggle with. It's just not what we're used to. So it's not about clearing your mind. It's more about noticing things like the texture of bark, the movement of light through leaves, the sound of wind or birds, or even just silence. It's less about doing and more about allowing. And what's fascinating is that this very simple shift from doing to being is what has such measurable effects on the body. So starting with stress, most of us live with this baseline level of stress that we don't even question anymore. It's just the water we're swimming in. But when researchers began studying forest bathing, one of the first things they looked at was cortisol, our primary stress hormone. Studies in Japan found that spending time in forest environments significantly reduced cortisol compared to time spent in urban settings. And that's not after weeks or months, it's after a single session. And this happens in real time when I'm guiding people on forest therapy walks or nature therapy walks. And you can feel the tension coming off of them. Their shoulders are tight, their breath is shallow, their attention is a little scattered. And I feel this myself. I'm totally guilty of this. But then within about 20 or 30 minutes, something shifts. It can be subtle. If we're paying close attention, it's noticeable. But it's when we slow our pace and our voices soften, and sometimes we stop talking altogether. There was one woman in particular who told me at the beginning of a walk that she wasn't very good at relaxing. But by the end of our time in the woods, she said, I just didn't realize how loud everything inside my head was until it got quiet. And that is what happens when cortisol comes down. That's the nervous system recalibrating. And it happens because we create the conditions for it rather than trying to force it. And there's something less obvious but incredibly powerful, and that's what it can do to the immune system. So, again, research shows that time spent in these forested environments can increase the activity of natural killer cells. And these are the cells in our bodies that help fight off viruses and even play a role in preventing tumor growth. One of the reasons for this is exposure to compounds called phytoncides. And these are natural oils released by trees and plants, essentially part of their own communication and defense systems. But when we breathe them in, our bodies respond. And it's one of these beautiful examples of interconnection, how the biology of trees and the biology of humans are part of a shared environment. And again, I think about the people I guide. Many of them come to these walks because they're feeling depleted emotionally, mentally, sometimes physically. They might not come in saying, I'm doing this to boost my natural killer cells. But they do say things like, I've just been feeling run down. I haven't been sleeping well. I don't feel like myself lately. And while forest bathing certainly is not a cure all, it does create a space where the body can begin to restore itself through exposure and presence and time. And this is the piece in my experience that resonates most deeply with people. Forest bathing helps regulate the nervous system. Specifically, it supports a shift from the sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight or flight mode, into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for rest, digestion, and cellular repair. And most of us are spending way too much time in that activated, alert state. Even when we're quote unquote resting, our minds are still scanning and processing and reacting. It's, the doom scrolling thing. Nature offers something completely different. It gives us what some researchers call soft fascination. It holds our attention gently without demanding anything from us. So, again, the way light moves through trees, or the repetition of waves rolling into shore, the unpredictability, but also the rhythm. And that's what allows the nervous system to downshift. It's really great when we're doing these walks. I often build in moments where we just pause completely. We'll stop, we'll sit on the ground, or we'll stand still and we'll just observe. We'll take in our surroundings without talking. There's no instructions. We're just standing or sitting. And at first, again, it can feel uncomfortable. People aren't used to that kind of stillness. But after a few minutes, something opens. Breathing deepens, posture changes. Some people close their eyes. Sometimes they cry. And not because anything's wrong, but because something is finally releasing. And that's the nervous system finding safety again. What I love about this work is that it doesn't ask you to believe in anything. You don't have to take my word for it. You don't even have to remember any of the research. But your body already knows. And this is an opportunity for your body to remember what it can feel like to be in a rested state. The science gives us language, it gives us credibility, it helps explain why this matters. But the experience itself is really where the transformation happens. And it doesn't even require a forest preserve or a guided walk, although these can be very beautiful containers for those things. You can start very simply by standing outside your door, sitting near a window, noticing the sky for a few minutes without any other distractions. The key isn't always about the location, it's more about the quality of your attention. Along those lines, I'm going to read a guided meditation that I created for one of my women's nature retreats, and it's called Rooted in the Forest. So it's something if you are sitting outside and just need a little help quieting your mind, maybe this guided meditation can help you. So we'll start by finding a comfortable place to stand or sit among the trees. Allow your feet to connect with the earth beneath you, whether that's soil, grass, or a forest path. And when you're ready, gently close your eyes or soften your gaze toward the ground. Begin by taking a deep breath in through your nose, drawing in the fresh air of this living forest, and exhale slowly through your mouth, releasing any tension you've been carrying. Breathe in again, noticing the quality of the air wherever you are. Perhaps it's cooler, richer, filled with the subtle fragrance of leaves, bark, earth, flowers. And breathe out, letting your shoulders drop away from your ears. Do that one more time, breathing in deeply, exhaling slowly. Now, bring your awareness to the sounds around you. Without labeling or judging, simply notice what you hear. The whisper of wind through branches, the rustle of leaves, maybe birdsong in the distance or the creak of trees moving. Let these sounds wash over you like gentle waves. Imagine yourself as one of these trees, rooted, steady, patient. Feel your own roots extending down through your feet or your bottom if you're seated and into the soil, connecting you to this ancient ground where you're held by the earth. You were supported. Notice how the trees around you stand in their own quiet strength. They don't rush, they don't strain, they simply grow moment by moment, season by season. Allow yourself to borrow some of that patience, that ease. If your mind wanders to thoughts of worry or planning, that's perfectly natural. Simply notice and then gently guide your attention back to your breath, back to the forest, and back to this present moment. Now bring your awareness to any sensations on your skin. Maybe you feel a breeze, cool and refreshing. Maybe dappled sunlight is warming your face. The touch of air itself. These are nature's gentle reminders that you are alive, here and now. Take one more deep, nourishing breath, filling your lungs completely with this forest air. Hold it for just a moment, receiving the gift of oxygen from these trees around you. And then release your breath, offering it back to them in return. When you're ready, begin to deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Slowly blink your eyes open, returning your gaze to the beauty surrounding you. Take a moment to silently thank the trees, the earth, and yourself for this time of presence and peace. Carry the sense of rootedness with you as you continue through the woods. If you take anything from today's episode, I hope it's this. Slowing down in nature is not a luxury. It's a form of care and recalibration and a way of returning to something that's always been available to us. Science is really catching up to what a lot of us feel intuitively, that we're not separate from the natural world. And when we spend time in it, truly immersing ourselves in it, our bodies remember how to settle and restore and reconnect. And if you'd like to experience this in a guided way, I would love to walk with you sometime. The invitation is always open. I'm at Adkins Arboretum on the first Friday of every month at 10 a.m. And even if you can't make it out there, take some time to step outside, slow down, and notice what shifts inside of you. I hope you have a beautiful weekend, taking care of yourselves, taking care of others, and taking care of those bees.
As the day settles back into green, let the quiet stay with you. Tend the small things right.